What's happening, good people? Welcome to Wes's Watch Room. So today we are going to be taking a look and doing a comparison between the Pagani Design PD-1701 version 3 against the Corgeut, which is very similar. Well, you know, very similar. And we're going to be doing an episode of Watch Wars and seeing, you know, which one of these is the better watch. So if you've never seen an episode before, there are 10 rounds, 10 points per round. Winner is, of course, the one with the most at the end. So kicking off with the design, and I've actually give it a bit of a dead heat because, you know, there's a few things I like about the Corgeut and a few things I like about the Pagani. For one, on the Corgeut, I like that there's no date window. I think, you know, that just looks a lot cleaner and it just looks better. I kind of prefer the subdials and the hands on the Pagani because they're a little bit broader, a little bit thicker. And I just think they look a little bit nicer. I like that, well, the subdials are sunken, but I kind of like the style of this one. So yeah, it's a bit of a, you know, mix and match. You know, I kind of like elements of both. None of them score points for originality because obviously they're not. And I also like the case a little bit more on the Pagani. You can just see there, you know, and there is a bit of a difference. It just, you know, looks a little bit more premium. But we'll talk about that, you know, in the next section. So dead heat for the design. Swings and roundabouts really, depending on which you prefer. So let's see if there's any difference on the next category, which is the build quality and finishing. So we're going to talk, I think we'll talk the Corgeut first. So this one is, you know, it's not bad. You know, it's got a nice defined line on the lugs. You know, we've got those twisted iconic lugs. Obviously not original to these, it's just a, you know, homage. But you know, the finishing is fair. You know, it's done to a pretty decent standard for the price point. You've got that really nice chamfered edge, and again, you know, the twist. And you know, the finishing is good. You know, we've got you know, nice polish elements. It's not the best polishing I've ever seen. And again, you know, we've got polished on this side with the brushing, so it's pretty good. The Pagani though is just a little bit better. You know, the brushing is just a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother. Even though the, you know, the edges I've, you know, said in the review, but that one's the same, you know, they're not the crispest. Also the twisted lug is a little bit sharper on this one, a little bit more defined. So that's just like a bit of personal taste. But yeah, the finishing is a little bit better on this one. And yeah, the build just feels a little bit better on this one. Apart from the pushers. Now, I have noticed that the pushers are a little bit better on this one. This one's a little bit sluggish. So I think I might have just got a bit of a bad sample. But the one on this one is better. So, you know, it's very close. But I've just give the edge to the Pagani just because the finishing is a little bit better. This one's thing scores really well as well. For, you know, the considering everything. So yeah, pretty close again. So now we're going to move on to the bracelet. And I had a bit of a tough time with this one, to be fair, because the bracelets are quite different and both have got their pros and cons. So we'll start off with the Pagani first. And this one for me takes the win on the finishing. Now, the finishing is much better. You know, we've got brush sides, we've got brush top, and then we've got that nice high polish accent. It looks a lot nicer, it looks more premium, but we have those sharp edges on the bracelet. Then we have all my clasp issues as well. You know, we've got these adjustment holes, which are not circular and really poorly cut. It's also very sharp as well, very sharp here. So yeah, it's got some nice finishing. The articulation's really good, but there is just some refinement and quality issues. Now, the Corgeut is a little bit more basic. You know, we've got brushed outers and high polished inners. The polish in is not done to the best standard. I'll just get a bit of a cloth and just get it clean so you can appreciate the polishing a bit more. But yeah, that's, you know, one big drawback of high polish. You know, it gets mucky really easy, and there is a lot on this. But yeah, the brushing quality isn't the best, and the actual polishing, you can see, you know, it is a bit streaky and not like a proper clean polish, so it's not the best either. We've also got a butterfly clasp. And finally, I did also notice, I'll see if I can pop a macro up, there are some imperfections in the polishing and the side. So again, you know, I've scored them quite similar. I think I've, you know, been fair with the, you know, the scoring of them. You know, I've been a little bit harsh because both of them, you know, aren't perfect. You know, that's got a butterfly clasp, not great. All that polishing, also not great. This looks better, is a little bit better built. That's got nicer articulation as well. You know, it just sort of flows a little bit better. You know, the links don't catch as much. So, you know, very, very similar on score, but I've just give the edge slightly to the Pagani, just slightly, because, you know, neither are great to be fair. As for the comfort and on wrist experience, I've actually give the win to the Corgeut, which is why, you know, it sort of close it back a little bit here. Now, if you've seen my review of this one, the Pagani, you'll know that it didn't fit all that well. And I said that this watch needed just a couple of extra links that could be removed, just to make it fit us guys with slimmer wrists. And as you can see, you know, I'm on the last macro adjust, so there's nothing I can do. There's no more links to remove, and, you know, there's no other way to get this to actually fit. So when I'm wearing it, you know, it jangles around, it hits my wrist bone, and, you know, it's just not good. This, on the other hand, fits much better, even with, you know, the clasp, because we do actually have, you can just see right there, half links. So you can see we've got one that side. I've removed 6 links, same with that one. And this just fits a lot better. It's a lot snugger, and it's actually a lot more comfortable. So yeah, that's why it wins. You know, it's not a massive difference because it's still not the nicest watch to wear, but, you know, it does win. Now we're going to talk a category where both of these aren't very good at all, and that is the Lume. Neither of these put out a strong experience. You can see on screen now that Lume, it starts off all right, but then it just quickly, you know, fades, and, you know, yeah, neither are very good. So there's the scores, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we're going to move on to the movement. So both these watches are using a VK63. Now, I thought this was using a Miyota first, but the reason you can tell this is a Seiko is because it does exactly the same as this one. So if you start off, you know, the chronograph, which is, I'm having a bit of an issue with this one. Look, I started first time and then do this one. So you can see, you know, both of them are sweeping away. Not the most smoothest sweep, but, you know, they're both mecha quartz, so they do sweep. So now if I stop them, and then I stop this one, and then I press the bottom pushers. In fact, I'll do one at a time. You can see it flicks back into place. And the same again, if I do this one, it flies back into place. Now, if it was a Miyota, it actually goes the other way around and sweeps, which I do prefer. But anyway, that's how you can tell, you know, they're both using the same movement. So yeah, as for the movements, I've scored them pretty much the same, with one difference. I've actually give this one an extra half a point just because of those pusher issues I've been having with the Pagani, the one here. Now sometimes it works fine. Sometimes, oh, it's working fine now. Ah, but you see there, I just pressed it there, it didn't stop. So look, pressed it then, didn't come on. So yeah, it's got its issues. Only just started, mind, after I'd done the review, just my luck, but yeah, it's just started having these issues. So I've given the extra half point to this one just because it works a little bit better. Not the movement, just how it's all integrated, it just works a little bit better. We're going to quickly get through the next few categories. Water resistance, the Pagani takes the win, claimed 100, claimed a lot less, I think it's like 30 or 50 meters, which is not great. So the Pagani takes that category. Availability, I think I've given them bang the same. Plenty of stores sell this one, plenty of stores sell this one on AliExpress, so you can get them both easily enough. Brand, I've actually scored them a bit of a dead heat. Now Pagani, you know, have got a bit of a reputation, especially with me. They don't really have the reliability of some other, you know, watch brands. Yes, they're one of the biggest on AliExpress. A lot of people know about them, but that doesn't mean that they're the best. because obviously they're not. Now Corgeut aren't as well known, but I've not had as many issues as those with Corgeuts than I have with Paganis. So yeah, again, swings and roundabouts. So they both score the same. Price is a good one because both of them are actually quite affordable, but the Corgeut is cheaper. This one you can pick up, I think at minute it's like 49 quid, and that's before tax in the UK. This is 70 something before tax. So after tax, that's pushing closer to 100. That one's pushing a little bit closer to the retail of this one before tax. So this is, you know, a cheaper option, which is why it takes the win. And here are the final scores, and you can see it is the closest one yet. Literally a point between them in favour of the Pagani. And you know, there's just not really, they're not really the best watches, I'm going to say. I mean, you've seen in my review of this one, you know, it's got its own issues. This one's got its own issues. But yeah, I don't think, if you really want one of these, let's just say, you can't really go wrong with either, because not one is like massively better than the other. I will say though that the Pagani overall looks the nicer watch. I think, you know, with the bracelet, it just looks a little bit nicer. But this just balances it out by being, you know, a little bit better in some areas. But then again, the Pagani's better in some areas as well. So yeah, like for example, you know, this has got a sapphire, this is mineral, ceramic, aluminium. So yeah, there's a bit of give. You know, this one's more comfortable, works a little bit better in my experience. So yeah, swings and roundabouts. But yeah, I think the scoring is, you know, very close. But again, they are quite close, and they make up for it in different ways and sort of balance each other out just about. So anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for this one. Do you agree with my verdict? Do you think, you know, the Pagani should have won, or do you think the Corgeut should have won? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see more content on the channel, click the links you can see right now. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that bell so you don't miss any future content. And of course, feel free to subscribe if you want to stay in touch with the channel. Thanks very much. Have a good one.